Let's give them all a big round of applause. Once again, note the colors that you're seeing. White and gold represent candidates from the School of Arts and Sciences. Orange marks the Hagem School of Engineering and Applied Sciences. Pink signifies the Eastman School of Music. Light blue is the Warner School of Education. Candidates from the School of Medicine and Dentistry wearing gold and salmon. Where are you? Let me hear you. School of Nursing wearing apricot. Simon School of Business wearing light brown. I see you, family. I see you. I hear you. So many proud family members and friends. It's wonderful to see. I see some School of Nursing students wearing apricot. Where's Simon Business School? School of Arts and Sciences. Hagem School of Engineering. Eastman, where are you? Oh, yeah. Okay, there we go. I see you. I hear you. There we go. School of Medicine and Dentistry. Let's see. If we can, it's okay. I see you on the other. Yep, on the end. Loud and proud. Who'd I forget? The doctoral crew. Woo! You know, let's say that again, okay? Make some noise for the doctoral crew up in front. Woo! Thank you. Thank you. Can I hear some noise from the moms in the crowd? Come on, Mama. You waited a long time for this day, didn't you? How about the dads? Yeah. How about the aunties? Whose aunties are in the crowd? How about uncles? Grandmothers? How about grandpas? How about little sisters, big sisters? Little bros, big bros? And if it's my family, I've got 100,000 cousins, so who's in the audience who's a cousin? It's just wonderful to see you all. We hear you. Yes. ensemble, the world-renowned Eastman Wind Ensemble, under the direction of Mark Davis Scatterday. The ensemble comprises about 50 musicians who are undergraduates and graduate students at the Eastman School of Music. Let's give them a big round of applause as they perform today. It just wouldn't be commencement without that sound, that beautiful music. We expect some 10,000 people here today. And then so many more watching from home as this commencement is being streamed online. Stadium is filling in very nicely. Once again, as students, graduates process into the stadium. Where's my doctoral crew? The doctoral graduates, congratulations. Where's the School of Arts and Sciences? All right, yeah, now that there's more of us in here, where's Hagem this morning? Hagem graduates, congratulations. I know the Eastman School of Music is stand by. Warner School of Education, where are you today? Yes. Where's my School of Medicine and Dentistry graduates? Woo! How about our nursing graduates? All right. And the Simon Business School, where are you this morning? All right. Loud and proud, well represented right here. This general area over here. And literally, hold on to your hat today, friends. It is a windy, windy start to the day. Woo! Fun fact, that's my husband right there. Say hi to Matt, the guy with the camera, right in front over here, yeah. I had to, he was standing right there. I had to. Bienvenidos a todos que están aquí de Latinoamérica. ¿Quién habla español? Yo soy boricua, para que lo sepa. Ok, así es, mija. big round of applause to the crews who made this possible today, the people who put in so many hours to make sure this goes off without a hitch. To the photographers, the videographers, the grounds crew, and all the staff who made today possible, are making today possible. Thank you so much. For the people who put in hours and hours of planning, thank you. If you're holding your graduate's face in a photo, could you hold that up? I'm curious, I'm noticing that's new this year. I see some over here. There was some around there too. There you I love it. Once again, the Eastman Wind Ensemble. From the Eastman School of Music, led by Mark Davis Scatterday. Thank you so much for providing that beautiful soundtrack to our day. It is a beautiful day in Rochester. Although not sunny, this constitutes as a good day in Rochester, am I right? I mean, I'm just saying, right? Like, this is a good day in Rochester. Rain is supposed to hold off until the rest of the afternoon, so this morning we can enjoy a wonderful ceremony. Once again, 10,000 people are expected, some 10,000 folks here today, family, friends, many of you from across the state, across the country, across the world are here today to watch your graduates and see them. So what a wonderful honor it is to have you as our guests here in Rochester today. We are about to begin in just a moment. And once again, please keep the center aisles free and remain in your seats as we begin. Would the members of the class of 2023, their friends, family members, and special guests, and all who are sharing this ceremony with us today, please rise as the platform party is heralded to the stage and its members take their places for today's ceremony. Coming down the aisle. Thank you, faculty. Let's give them a big round of applause. Once again, a big round of applause for our faculty members. Beach balls in full effect. Welcome to the platform party. It is my great privilege to welcome the members of the class of 2024 to the university's 174th commencement ceremony. Also, my deep honor to welcome the members of the platform party today. To everyone here, congratulations on your success in achieving this milestone. Thank you and Meliora.
On this day of celebration and reflection, let us gather our hearts and minds together as we acknowledge the triumphs and trials that have shaped all who are graduating today. As they stand on the threshold of the next chapter of their lives, let us invoke the spirit of resilience and hope with which they have weathered their unique journeys to this day. We honor their strength, their perseverance, and their unwavering commitment to their education. They began this journey in the midst of a global pandemic, and they have completed it during a time of war that has deeply affected life on this and many college campuses. In the face of uncertainty and adversity, these students have demonstrated courage and adaptability. We give thanks for the families and friends that have nurtured them along the way, especially during the trying and frustrating days of lockdown, virtual learning, testing and quarantine, and the disquieting days of protests and tension. We join these students in giving thanks for friendships forged here that will last a lifetime, for wise mentors, challenging teachers, and opportunities for personal, academic, spiritual, and professional growth that have stretched them and tested them as they have graced this campus during this phase of their life's journey. We send them forth buoyed by our great hopes and expectations for all they have yet to do. May they grow in humility, embrace life with a good sense of humor, move through the days and years to come with patience, compassion, and empathy, and maintain throughout their lives a commitment to justice and peace. May their happiness increase as they serve the world. May they dream big dreams. May they nourish the visionary gleam that lies within them, cultivate the art of seeing invisible things, turn their knowledge into wisdom, hone their sense of right and wrong, and at the last understand the meaning of their own lives. U of R, class of 2024, may the eternal Spirit bless you and keep you. May the Holy One be gracious to you. May you live expectantly, love courageously, and go forth from this university to be a blessing to the world as you have blessed us with your presence during your time here. Amen. Please be seated.
Welcome and congratulations to the families, friends, and soon-to-be 2024 graduates from our University of Rochester. Woo! My name is Rich Handler. In the ancient year of 1983, I occupied one of those seats that you're all sitting in. I'm also the proud chair of your soon-to-be alma mater, and I'm speaking today on behalf of all of our trustees. Besides the incredible honor I have of being a trustee, I'm also a boring business guy who spent 34 years working to help build an investment bank called Jefferies. I only mention that because in my long career, I've taken to putting out a lot of lists of mistakes that I've made and things I could have done better. I do it a lot for the people of the next generations, and what you'll find is the common theme is you only seem to learn things when times are tough and challenging. These are times that are tough and challenging. If I think about what you've all been through just the last 4 years, it's a mountain of worry and pain that I don't wish on anybody. You're all part of an experience called a global pandemic that I never thought I would see in my lifetime. There was uncertainty in a collapse, of the financial markets that came right after the pandemic. Horrifying social divide, starting with George Floyd and the ensuing riots. Asian hate crimes. A contested election, an attack on American citizens on a body of the government. An unprovoked Russian attack on Ukraine and a resulting war. Another horrible war in the Middle East with a terrible terrorist attack. Anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, protests on campus. I mean, my God, just think about that for all you. It is more than anyone could ever imagine, and this was your last 4 years, at our University of Rochester. Now, I say that and all this for one reason. I have 3 questions for each of you about how this experience is really going to affect your future and your outlook. Because as I said before, strength and character and perseverance only comes during hard times. So here are my questions. Are you going to allow yourselves to sink into a pessimistic and fatalistic fear of the future? People wouldn't blame you if you did. Or are you going to reach down deep and find the confidence and the optimism and the strength from this experience and realize you all can handle just about anything life can throw at you? You've proven it. Are you going to isolate and confine these difficult and painful experiences to the far recesses of your mind to have that sense of denial and self-protection? Or are you going to own this period and realize the world is hard, you have to embrace all these experiences that you've just been through, no matter how uncomfortable they feel, and use that experience and the insights and make yourself and the world stronger going forward? Can you do that? Third, are you going to allow this period to make you feel small? Like you're a twig floating haphazardly down a river with no ability to control your destiny? Or are you going to get energized? Are you going to get motivated? Are you become super ambitious and committed and realize this world needs every single one of you? We need you to stand up, take ownership, and make this place a better world. I'd like each of you soon-to-be graduates to please stand up for just a moment. Hold on. I'm not conferring any degrees. I got no power, okay? I want you to turn around and look behind you. I want everyone here to look behind you. I hope what you see, are your parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, siblings, friends. I want you to soak in for 1 minute the love and support and affection they have given you your entire lives. Just soak it in. Okay, class of 24, go yell at them and tell them how much you love them. Let's hear it from all you. Okay, turn around. Selfishly, I just want to give a shout. Everyone can sit down. Stand up, sit down. There are 14 Handler scholars out there somewhere. I just want to give a shout out to all of you, okay? You are an inspiration to me and everyone you meet, and I couldn't be prouder of you. I just want to tell you all, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, okay, we could not be prouder of you. The world needs you more than ever. Congratulations, and never forget your experiences and make this world better. Congratulations, class of 2024.
Thank you very much, Rich. Good morning, everyone. It's great to see all of you. It is a wonderful day for us to be able to celebrate the achievements of this year's graduating class, the class of 2024, and to share that milestone with family members, loved ones, friends, faculty, classmates, and our global audience who are streaming this event online. You, the members of the class of 2024, deserve to be very proud of everything you've done to get to this day, the research and scholarship you've engaged in, the papers and lab reports and portfolios, the performances and recitals that you spent hours rehearsing and presenting, the clinical rotations and hands-on practicum sessions, your experiences in classrooms across the region, not to mention the practices and meetings and plans you've undertaken with your classmates and friends. You've enriched our whole campus with your incredible energy, your ideas, your passion, and your deep care for one another. You've had moments of great success that you've celebrated with your friends and classmates. And yes, you've probably had some late nights, some setbacks, some doubts. But with each challenge, you've chosen to do your best and to be your best as a student and as a person. That's part of the Rochester way, to commit yourself. But also, you want to make yourself better, but you also want to make the world better. You deserve to be incredibly proud of yourself. I know everyone here sharing this day with you, and the faculty and guests on the platform party, and everyone out in the stands, each one of us is very, very proud of you and all of your accomplishments. But this class, I remember when I'm talking about the undergraduates, so it was move-in day in the fall of 2020. Now, typically, I go and greet the students and help them carry boxes and meet their parents. That year, they said, you can't go in the dorms, you can't shake hands with anyone, you can't touch any of their possessions, you must wear a mask, and make sure they got their COVID test before they set foot in the dorm. So I'd stand out there, hi. Welcome to the University of Rochester. I'm President Mangelsdorf. It didn't feel particularly welcoming. And that was the way you started your undergraduate experience. And I think about what it was like for you to sit 6 feet apart from your classmates. Hard to strike up a conversation with someone in class when you're sitting 6 feet apart. All those informal ways in which you meet people, we made them almost impossible, and we're sorry for that, but it's what we felt we had to do. So I thank you all for your perseverance in the face of that global pandemic, and your willingness to learn in new ways, and your ability to build connections among classmates, often virtually and often 6 feet apart. That fall was that whole year actually was a very disconcerting year, to say the least. You arrived to a fully locked down campus, but you were incredibly engaged and willing to find ways to make things work. You masked up, you hunkered down, you Zoomed, and you demonstrated the kind of leadership and creativity that are truly hallmarks of University of Rochester students. Your perseverance and patience were really key to the ways that the university community responded. From the River Campus to the Eastman Campus to South Campus, and of course the Medical Center and our affiliates, everyone demonstrated that by working together, caring for one another, we could better keep one another safe and keep our whole community healthy and whole. 4 years later, we've all signed off from Dr. Chatbot. Do you remember Dr. Chatbot? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was fun. We've received all our vaccinations, and we're here today to acknowledge the lessons of those very challenging days. They helped inform our experience as we went on to reestablish a vibrant campus life. As we re-engage with one another in classrooms, in laboratories, in performance venues, on playing fields and social settings, we emerged from those difficult days to a brighter future for ourselves and our families and friends and our world. At least that's what we hoped for. I, for one, was so thrilled to be able to finally be with people in person, not just on Zoom. Lots of us did Zoom socializing for a while. It was really, oh my God, to actually be able to hug someone, what a world. So I really want to thank every member of the class of 2024 for demonstrating that we can succeed when we're willing to share a burden, when we're willing to look out for one another, and when we can work together to achieve a goal. These are lessons that will resonate long after today, long after you've embarked on the next chapter of your lives with your families and friends, as leaders in your given professions, and as engaged citizens of a seemingly ever smaller world. One aspect of the pandemic and of your time at Rochester that I hope you take with you is how much each person's success and each person's sense of accomplishment relies on the engagement with those around you. That none of us is making our way in this life entirely alone. We all need one another. And there is no single person who has the right answers to incredibly complex questions that we face in our world. As humans, we're social beings, and we thrive best when we can exchange thoughts and ideas and resources and support one another. That is, in effect, what an institution like the University of Rochester is all about. The idea behind the creation of research universities like Rochester was incredibly bold and deceptively effective. We do our best to bring the most curious people we can find from all over the world, from all faith and identity traditions, from all kinds of historical experiences, and we ask them to put their talents towards improving our world. I say the idea is deceptively effective, but it's not always simple. To be effective, we each need to be able and willing to respectfully listen to those who disagree with us. That we chose to be part of a community where our ideas and our very beliefs about who we are and what we believe about the world will sometimes be challenged and often changed. That's not easy. That's not comfortable. But that is the true work for us as scholars, as citizens, as leaders, and as human beings. That's not to say ignore your passions or not to fight for your beliefs. Not at all. We need passion and commitment to address the many challenges in our world today. But we also need empathy and understanding and the ability to see those who disagree with you are not necessarily your enemies. That, to paraphrase Walt Whitman, we each contain multitudes. None of us is wholly and simply one kind of person who thinks or acts or interprets events in a single way. As you've made your way to this important milestone, I hope you've seen the importance of including a wide range of people in your circle, that the perspectives and views of people different from you don't cancel out your ideas or perspectives. Instead, the voices of those others help us learn and build on our ideas and understanding of the world. I am deeply saddened that universities like Rochester are often portrayed in media reports and political arenas as if we were hotbeds of groupthink, that your professors are here to indoctrinate you and that all our professors think alike. Couldn't be, I can tell you firsthand, all our professors do not think alike. My job might be a little easier if they did, but that's another story. Nor do all our students think alike, and that's what makes universities so great. That's the kind of community you've inherited when you joined us at the beginning of your studies, a complex, multifaceted community where each of us try to contribute our best. And that's the kind of community you've helped strengthen during your time at the University of Rochester. And it's the kind of community I know you will help create as you move on in the next chapters of your journey. So on behalf of the University of Rochester, I wish you all the best in your next endeavor. Congratulations to all of you. And just to follow up on what Chairman Handler, Rich, as we refer to him, reminded you of, as you celebrate this day, please remember to thank everyone who helped you along the way, family members and loved ones, your friends, your teachers, your mentors, everyone who believed in you, even when you didn't believe in yourself. And think of all those who came before you, the people from your families or your communities or the traditions that are meaningful to you, and silently thank them, or not so silently, for paving a path for you. I know that many of you may be leaving campus, but everyone here today will always be a member of the University of Rochester community. We value your contributions to making us better. So please stay in touch. There's no better gift to us than seeing you go out in the world and seeing all the wonderful things you do with your life. So stay in touch. You join an incredible legacy of Rochester graduates. We can't wait to learn the incredible chapters you will add to our remarkable story. So thank you all so much. Congratulations, class of 2024.
Officer of the University of Rochester Medical Center and Dean of the School of Medicine and Dentistry to present the university's George Eastman Medal. The award recognizes individuals who demonstrate achievement and service that embody the ideals of the university.
President Mengelsdorf, I call to honor Dr. Diane Hartman, the Senior Associate Dean for Graduate Medical Education and a Professor of Obstetrics and Gynecology at the University of Rochester.
Dr. Hartman, you have inspired us with your commitment and your dedication to improving the practice of medicine, the quality of the medical education our residents receive, and to exemplifying the ideals of quality, compassion, and care for the country's community of medical professionals.
President Mengelsdorf, it is a great honor and privilege for me to present to you Dr. Diane Hartman for the university's George Eastman Medal.
Here we go.
Hello, everyone. I'm David Figlio, the provost, and I'm here to present the university's Charles Force Hutchison and Marjorie Smith Hutchison Medal. This medal represents the university's highest distinction for an alumnus recognizing achievement and service to community, state, or nation. President Mangelsdorf, I call to the podium Mr. Francis Price, CEO and President of PHG Engineering and Interact Performance Systems, alumnus and life trustee of the university.
Mr. Price, we are proud to honor you and your story of professional achievement and service, rising from humble beginnings in Jamaica and working your way to positions of executive leadership in some of the nation's most storied corporations. You have exemplified your lifelong ethos, as you often say, to leave a light on for those who follow in your footsteps. You have inspired Rochester students to carry on your outstanding legacy as a first-generation immigrant who shares his success with others in our great university community.
During our weekend of ceremonies, we will also honor alumnus Robert Montgomery, the H. Leon Patcher, MD professor and chair of surgery at New York University's Langone Health. Dr. Montgomery will be presented with the Charles Force Hutchison and Marjorie Smith Hutchison Medal during the School of Medicine and Dentistry's graduation ceremony tomorrow.
Provost Figlio will now introduce this year's candidates for honorary degrees, the university's most distinguished recognition of outstanding contributions by an individual to their field, their communities, and to making our world ever better.
I present Mr. E. Michael Campbell, former director of the university's Laboratory for Laser Energetics. Michael Campbell, during your outstanding tenure as the director of the university's Laboratory for Laser Energetics, you have demonstrated exceptional leadership as a researcher, colleague, and administrator of one of the nation's most important scientific resources. We take great pride in your dedicated engagement to ensure that the Laboratory for Laser Energetics continues to be celebrated internationally as a leader in the science of internal confinement fusion, high energy density physics, and high-powered lasers. President Mangelsdorf, it is my honor to present E. Michael Campbell for the honorary degree of Doctor of Science.
Michael Campbell, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I confer upon you the honorary degree Doctor of Science and invest you with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereunto.
It's now my honor to introduce Maria Schneider, Grammy Award-winning composer and innovative creative artist. Maria Schneider, we recognize in your music and in your leadership as a creative artist the embodiment of our university's mission to learn, discover, heal, create, and make the world ever better. You've inspired us with your award-winning music, and you've demonstrated a commitment to your musical and creative colleagues through your leadership in exploring innovative ways to safeguard the intellectual and creative property of all who aspire to make art and who contribute to humanity's store of cultural knowledge. President Mangelsdorf, it is my honor to present Maria Schneider for the honorary degree of Doctor of Musical Arts.
Maria Schneider, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I confer upon you the honorary degree Doctor of Musical Arts and invest you with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereunto.
I now have the honor of presenting Laura Karstensen. Laura Karstensen, we have you to thank for transforming how American society thinks about aging and the lifespans of our loved ones, our friends and colleagues, and each of us individually. Because of your dedication as a scholar and as a psychologist, we can reimagine our contributions to the well-being of our communities, our nation, and the world in ways that were unimaginable to previous generations. You have inspired us with your transformational insight that getting older can be a time of new opportunities and new purpose when we, as individuals and as a culture, embrace our aging with a positive and forward-looking understanding of our human abilities. President Mangelsdorf, I am proud to present Laura Karstensen for the honorary degree of Doctor of Science.
Laura Karstensen, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I confer upon you the honorary degree Doctor of Science and invest you with all the rights, privileges pertaining thereunto. And now, I'm introducing Laura in it for another purpose. It gives me great pleasure to turn the podium over to Laura Karstensen to present our 2024 commencement address. Professor Karstensen is the Fairleigh S. Dickinson Jr. Professor in Public Policy at Stanford University. She is the founder and director of Stanford's Center on Longevity. I'm proud that her presence today is also a homecoming of sorts. Professor Karstensen is a Rochester native, and like me, she's the daughter of a professor, but she was the daughter of a professor from the University of Rochester. So she spent a lot of time on our campus. She's a true member of the university family and a graduate of our institution. As an internationally recognized scholar, her research and leadership on psychological lives of older adults has reshaped our appreciation of aging and given us all hope that we will all have fulfilling and engaging lives well into our later years. Please welcome Laura Karstensen.
Thank you. Thank you, President Mangelsdorf. Thank you, members of the Board of Trustees. What an honor it is to be with you today. Congratulations to the graduates. Today is testament to your strength and adaptability, and that truly is worth celebrating. For 30 years, I've been studying the ways we perceive time and how we perceive time influences our own well-being. And I'm going to tell you 3 stories this morning that center on the remarkable ability that we humans have to time travel. We can go back in time and imagine ourselves in previous states, and we can go into the future and imagine ourselves there. So the first story I want to tell you is about graduations, because it turns out that graduations spark time travel in both directions, because they mark endings and beginnings. So in recent days, you've probably had a lot of memories surface. You with me? You may have remembered your first day on campus, the day you met your roommate, the day you decided on a major, the day you changed your major. But with the exception of a few old souls, young people pretty much live in the future, always drifting to the next thing. I'm sure that many of you, right now, here today, are thinking about the plans you made for the rest of the day. Some of you are daydreaming about that great vacation you planned, or graduate school, the great job you landed, the fact that you don't have a job, but always one foot in the future. And you know, the what ifs, the dreams, the maybes can be exciting, but living in the future takes an emotional toll. Futures are uncertain, and what ifs are hard. Emotionally speaking, the late teens and the early 20s are the hardest time in life. And I like to tell young people this every chance I get, because at the same time life feels really hard emotionally, people are constantly telling you, and these are the best years of your life. No wonder you think, I don't want to get old. Trust me, research makes it abundantly clear. Emotionally, these are not the best times in your life, and you can look forward to the best emotional times in life coming later. Now, another downside of living in the future is that you miss the present. And life feels better when we live in the present. So try this. I'm going to ask you to come back to the present, here, today, this moment. And don't worry, it'll just be for a few seconds. Okay, you ready? You with me? Let time stand still. Focus on the ground beneath your feet. Feel that Rochester humidity on your skin. Breathe. Smell the smells of the recent rain. See your friends' smiles. Take in the crowd. Parents, grandparents, brothers, sisters, university staff, all celebrating you. Look at the sky. Notice how this place, this time feels like home. When you return to campus in coming months, years, decades, and you're going to walk across the grounds, and there will be changes, but it's going to feel like home, because it is. Okay, done. Drift away. So the second story I want to tell you this morning is about how people who lived in the past are affecting your futures. You are going to live longer than any generations of humans because of the work that your ancestors began a century ago. For most of human history, life was short, and I mean really short. We don't know exactly what it was, but the estimates range from 18 to 20. And over the millennia, life expectancy slowly inched up over thousands of years. And now fast forward 1900 in the United States, life expectancy had reached 47. And by the end of that same century, it was 77. Let me put it this way. More years were added to average life expectancy in the 20th century than all years added across all prior millennia of human evolution combined. In a blink of an eye, we nearly doubled the length of our lives. How? Well, let's travel back in time now to just over 100 years ago. Now, you hear a lot about the good old days, but there was a lot not to like. There was usually a kind of a stench in the air from rotting waste somewhere, decaying animals. There was no public removal of waste, no garbage removal. There were no antibiotics, no vaccines for polio, diphtheria, tetanus. It was a world without electricity, which of course meant without refrigeration. The flu and gastrointestinal diseases, generally from foodborne pathogens, were the top causes of death. Now, death was common at all ages, and when illness struck, death came swiftly, within days or weeks. Maternal mortality was very high. But by far, the most precarious time in life was infancy. In this country, 100 years ago, 1 in every 4 babies born died before they reached 1. Close to half of them died before they reached 5. And so our ancestors, your ancestors, set out to save the lives of the young ones. Now, often this is told as a story about medical science, medical advances, and advances in medicine played a big role. But it's a broader story. It's a story about culture, and by culture I mean that crucible that holds science and technology, behavioral practices, social norms. It's a story about collective good, about partnerships among scientists, industries, governments, communities. Our ancestors discovered the causes of diseases and how they spread. And they found ways to inoculate the children against diseases they would never have to suffer. Great advances in vaccination were made here at Rochester. But these advances didn't stop with vaccinations and medicine. Our ancestors didn't stop there. They purified waterways. They pasteurized food. They built electrical transmission lines across the nation, and with electricity came new heating and cooling systems. Home refrigeration appeared for the first time. Importantly, community-wide programs were established, what we now call public health, to make sure that all the children were protected. New agricultural technologies were so effective that for the first time in history, there was a steady food supply throughout the year. And our ancestors didn't stop there. They put public education in place in every state in this great nation so that all children could learn how to read and write, not just the privileged few. And you know, today at some point in adulthood, education is a better predictor of life expectancy than age. A stunning observation. And the babies started to survive. And by mid-century, life expectancies in adulthood were beginning to increase too. The magic happened because advances were widely distributed in the population. If only the wealthy had vaccines, electricity, refrigeration, education, lives would have remained short in the whole population. Our ancestors were so successful that by the end of the century, we, here today, were handed a gift of 30 extra years of life for the average person. No strings attached. I tell you this story because it's a story about what can be accomplished in just one lifetime when we work together. Now, to be clear, the doubling of life expectancy in a century is among the greatest challenges of the 21st century. We have a lot of work to do, but we're living at a time when the potentials of science and technology are breathtaking. Sometimes I worry that the bigger challenge is a lack of imagination. You know, so far, we took these extra years of life and we tacked them all on at the end, and only old age got longer. It's up to you to decide where these years should go. We can put them wherever we want. We could make childhood longer. We could stretch out the middle of life. You don't have to reach the peak of your careers at the same time you're raising young children. You can retire early and often. I am so optimistic that your generation is going to decide how to use these years. Your generation is a generation that cares about equity and justice. Your generation is remarkably open and accepting of differences across peoples and cultures. Your generation thinks globally, and all countries in the world are aging. The other message in this story is that you have time, more time than any prior generations. More time to chase your dreams, to spend with your loved ones, to realize your goals. You have time to make mistakes while you realize those goals and chase those dreams. Your lives will be marathons, not sprints. The message of this story is that when a generation works together, it can reach seemingly impossible goals. We're counting on you. Now, I told you that the University of Rochester is your home. This is indeed a homecoming for me. I grew up in Brighton, about 10 minutes away from the University of Rochester. My father was Ed Karstensen, a biophysicist and a professor of electrical engineering here. He founded the Center for Biomedical Ultrasound, which has subsequently been led by Professors Kevin Parker and Diane Delecky, who many of you know. The School of Engineering was the intellectual home that he cherished. He died in 2016 at the age of 97, and he was an amazing man. One of the highlights of my childhood was going to work with him on this campus. I would spend time with him while he was going back and forth from the Hopeman building to the library, to the medical school. And, you know, in my mind's eye, I'm running behind him, trying to keep up. He walked so fast, and he never took an elevator, and he was always in a hurry. But he was never too busy for me or my 4 siblings. He had this really gentle way of teaching. It was so gentle that you often didn't even know he was conveying a lesson. My siblings and I attended a festschrift for him when he retired here and on this campus, and listening to his former students one after the other get up and describe what it was like to work with him told a version of the same story. It went like this. So we'd bring an idea in to see Dr. C, and he'd say, interesting, have a seat, and let's talk. And about an hour later, you'd be walking out the door, and he'd be telling you what a terrific idea you had. And it would take you a few minutes before you realized it was a very different idea than the one you brought to him. Now, growing up as the daughter of a scientist is interesting. Ask President Mangelsdorf. There were many lessons embedded in everyday life. And in hindsight, I realized the main lesson my dad taught us was to question, to doubt, to look for evidence. Not doubt in a cynical way, not at all. Both of my parents were awe-inspired by the beauty of the natural world, but rather doubt in the way that author Annie Lamott writes. She wrote, "The opposite of faith is not doubt, it's certainty." He taught us to have faith, but not to hold on too tightly to our beliefs. The tentative nature of science, he once wrote, does not speak against science. It is science. Now, in our home, there was no pressure to pursue academics or any other particular career. The message was to be the best that we could be, and not the best, mind you, the best that we could be. And when we were graduating from high school and being launched from the home, none of us Karstensen children took traditional paths, none of us. One brother went to Oberlin and then dropped out and moved to a shack in the Sierras where he became a naturalist. Another brother dropped out of Ohio State to become a woodworker and a builder. The youngest of us moved to Mexico to work at the American School in Guadalajara. And my sister Dee, who's here today, studied at the Eastman Preparatory School as a child and went on to become a professional harpist and singer-songwriter, and now owns NYC Records with her husband. I had no interest in college. And now what I'm gonna do is to skip over a lot. It was the 70s, let me just leave it at that. But one day, night after a concert with friends, I was a passenger in a VW van. It turns out the driver was drunk. He careened off down a hill, and I ended up at Strong Memorial Hospital for months with a cracked femur, crushed knee, scores of fractures, punctured lung, concussions, bad shape. The physicians at Strong literally saved my life. Thank you. Thank you. Now, after multiple surgeries, the pieces started to come back together, and for months, I laid on my back with my legs strung in the air. You know, that comic strip kind of image of, you know, your legs up there and your fat on your back, and I was 21. And after a while, it got pretty boring. The nurses are true healers. I'm gonna shout out to the nurses. The nurses assigned me a job. They said my roommates were going to be older patients, and my job was to keep them oriented and happy. Now, of course, in hindsight, they had a plan to help me, right? So my dad would visit, and when I began to complain about, you know, getting a little bored, he said one day, "What about taking a course at the university?" And I looked at him like, I can't go. And he said, "No, I'll go to the classes for you and record them. Pick a course." And I said, "Not physics." He goes, "Okay." He says, "Pick a topic, anything." And I said psychology, and that was an ending and the beginning of a new chapter in my life. My dad attended every lecture and introductory psychology and brought audio tapes to me at Strong Memorial Hospital. So I took intro psychology in the hospital, surrounded by old women. And we had so much more in common than broken bones. I got to know them, and I began to question over time how much of aging is biological, and it is, but how much of it is really shaped by the social world. In many ways, that's the same question I'm still asking many years later in academics. Without the University of Rochester, I would have lived an entirely different life. But I learned about psychology from the likes of Harry Reese and Marone Zuckerman and Ed Deasy. They were very young at the time, by the way. And many others who have since moved on from the university. So this is my story about gratitude for the university, for my father, for the teachers, doctors, and nurses. But my reason for telling you my story today is to reassure you that it's often when things break that you discover who you are. These are not the best of times. Your studies began during COVID, and they're ending during a time of wars and political turmoil. Know that during the most challenging times, you sometimes find your passions. During emotionally tough times, you find out you are strong. Stand up for your beliefs. Be charitable to others. And don't ever forget to look at the sky. Peace. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Karsten, for those wonderful remarks. I want to tell a little story. That's why I'm not letting her sit back down. In the course of selecting you to present your inspirational remarks, it came to my attention that you harbored some doubt about whether you actually ever got a university diploma. I know that your comments come from a sense of humility, but I want to put those doubts to rest and give you an official copy of your diploma. So years later, if any of you say that you didn't get your diploma, just let us know. We'll take care of it. Please welcome to the podium, once again, David Figlio.
Graduates of the class of 2024, you're all graduates of one of the world's absolute greatest research universities. We're a member of the American Association for American Universities. I can tell you that amongst the world's greatest research universities, I can think of very few that care as much about teaching as we do. So if I can go off script for 1 second, just to say, could graduates just give a round of applause for all of your faculty? So the next part of the program is really hard because we have so many extraordinary teachers on our faculty, but we have to choose a few to call out now. Over the course of this weekend, the university will celebrate members of our academic community who have been recognized by our students for making a real difference in your academic experiences. We'll honor the recipients of Rochester's most distinguished teaching awards in undergraduate education across all of the university's disciplines. At this time, I'd like to publicly recognize these remarkable members of our faculty. The Edward Peck Curtis Award for Excellence in Undergraduate Teaching is awarded to the following 3 people. Karen Berger, Associate Professor of Instruction in the Department of Earth and Environmental Sciences in the School of Arts and Sciences. Glenn Mackin, Professor and Chair of the Department of Humanities at the Eastman School of Music. And Liz Chinelli, Associate Professor and Coordinator of the Graduate Writing Project in the college's Writing, Speaking, and Argument program. The G. Grayton Curtis 58 and Jane W. Curtis Award for non-tenured faculty teaching excellence is awarded to the following 2 colleagues. Hessa Mascari, Assistant Professor of Mechanical Engineering in the Hajim School of Engineering and Applied Sciences. And Yujin Zhang, Assistant Professor of Violin in the Department of Strings, Harp, and Guitar at the Eastman School of Music. Please join me in thanking our truly outstanding faculty for the dedication to the success of our graduates.
Please welcome Jeffrey Runner, Vice Provost and Dean for Undergraduate Education, who will introduce the class of 2024 undergraduate student speaker.
It is my pleasure to introduce Emily Bonanno as this year's undergraduate student speaker. Emily is a candidate to receive a Bachelor of Science degree in biochemistry with a minor in music, specializing in piano and violin performance. She has conducted RNA biochemistry research in the university's AB Cardiovascular Research Institute, while also holding leadership roles, including the Chief Justice of the Student Government's All-Campus Judicial Council, the President of the Pre-Law Society, as an award-winning captain in our mock trial program. She's the recipient of this year's Percy Dutton Prize, which has been awarded annually since 1946, to a member of the graduating class who has excelled in wholesome, unselfish, and helpful influence among their fellow students. Please give a warm welcome to Emily Bonanno.
Thank you, Dean Runner, for the warm welcome, and thank you to the Board of Trustees and President Mangelsdorf for the invitation to speak here today. Good morning, family, friends, faculty, and graduates of the class of 2024. I'd like to share a story set in my sophomore year during my first week of classes. I was particularly excited for the genetics lab as it was my first in-person lab class. On the first day of lab, we were tasked with catching different types of insects by the river to learn how to purify and extract their DNA for further experiments. After several minutes of successful capturing, I encountered a grave problem. The classmate standing next to me had stepped on a yellow jacket nest. I think you see where this is going. Given our mascot, I think it's pretty apt that I, quote, felt the sting during my first week on campus. You're bound to get stung a few times in college, but it's how you recover from it that matters. In commitment to our motto, ever better, this little episode made me determined to teach that class in the future, so someone could warn the students of where not to walk when catching the insects. I ended up teaching the genetics lab for 2 years in a row. When asked to be the undergraduate speaker at commencement, I was so honored, but capturing the spirit of a class put through so many challenges seemed like a tall order. We're a tight-knit class, fairly small, especially compared to the swarms of freshmen and sophomores that have recently joined the university. And we know we're an unusual class, having started during the pandemic. We hear all too often phrases like, "Oh my gosh, you never went to prom," or "It's such a shame that you didn't get a real high school graduation." Yeah, we know. It's true. Many of us did not get to enjoy these events in high school, which typically bring an air of finality to such important chapters in one's life. I don't want to minimize the impact of the pandemic, but by the same token, our class is so much more than COVID. Like many of you, I studied remotely my freshman year, and college from home is just different. In hindsight, it doesn't really feel like college. It can be isolating. You miss out on many of the in-person events that college has to offer, and even just those little interactions with people throughout the day that we once took for granted, like stopping to talk to a friend in the library or partaking in the frantic chatter with your classmates after a particularly hard lecture or exam. A number of you studied in person freshman year, but I've heard that your experiences were not much different. Fortunately, we did eventually get a college experience. Our fair share of dinners with friends, D-days, events, and parties. We've spent countless hours in the libraries, and we found our places on campus where we like to be. We've been able to pursue our passions in clubs and sports, and we've made friends and connections, some of whom we'll have for life. If anything, being in the class of 2024 is special because the challenges made us appreciate all that we have done and all that we do a little more. During my remote study, time felt somewhat abstract. For many of us, days during the pandemic seemed to blur together since we didn't leave our homes or rooms that often. This made me realize that time is so important. When you treat time like it's precious, you can accomplish a lot. And as Rochester graduates, I know that many of you are so talented with your time management, juggling your many interests, majors, minors, and extracurriculars. But what life during the pandemic really taught me was the importance of being wise with one's time and being present for those you care about. I have to thank my amazing family and wonderful friends for their endless love and support. And from them, I've learned to live in the moment, seize the day, and appreciate the joys in life. Today's event is one of these joys. It is our moment as a class, our ever-resilient class, to bask in the joy of becoming a Rochester graduate. It's finally our time to get closure on this chapter, and I must say, it's pretty nice. Times are trying, but that's nothing new to our class. My grandma always says, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. We've proven that we're tough, and now it's time to get going. It's time to make the world ever better. Thank you, and congratulations to the class of 2024.
Please welcome to the podium Melissa Sturge-Apple, Vice Provost and Dean of Graduate Education and Postdoctoral Affairs.
Wasn't that a great speech? How about another round of applause? It is a privilege to be able to announce the 2024 Teaching Awards for our faculty who are deeply invested in graduate education for our graduate students. The Lifetime Achievement Award in Graduate Education is awarded to Harry Reese, who holds the Dean's Professorship in the Department of Psychology in the School of Arts and Sciences. The William H. Riker University Award for Excellence in Graduate Teaching is awarded to Jibulu, who holds the Albert Hopeman Professorship in Engineering and is a professor of computer science in the Hagem School of Engineering. Congratulations. So in my position, I get to work with our fantastic graduate students at the University of Rochester, a job I truly enjoy. And it is my honor to introduce Raquel Ayalik as our graduate student speaker. Raquel completed her degree requirements for her PhD in biomedical engineering in the fall semester, and she is now a business development consultant for a biotech startup firm. Raquel is the first person in her family to graduate from college. So she not only did that, but then she went on to get her PhD. She began her BME program in 2018 and was named a National Science Foundation Graduate Research Fellow. During her graduate studies, she volunteered as a graduate student mentor for our David Kearns Center, and she was a co-founder of the Microphysiological Systems Network that connected University of Rochester with students from our institution over there, the Rochester Institute of Technology. Please join me in welcoming Raquel to the podium.
Wow, thank you so much, Dean Sturge-Apple, for that amazing introduction. And thank you as well to the Council for Graduate Studies for nominating me and to represent all of the amazing graduate students today. I also want to have a special thanks to President Mangelsdorf and our members of trustees for all of their support throughout my time here in Rochester. Most of all, thanks to all of our great students and their families and friends for being here, rain or shine. So thank you all. And special shout out to the Department of Biomedical Engineering, for sure. It is really such an honor to be standing before you all today in celebration of one of our greatest accomplishments in life. I think I'm supposed to say something that's somewhat deeply moving and impactful, and that somehow makes you all feel proud, encouraged, and optimistic for your bright future ahead. Now, I think the council might be a little bit confused that my degree title has Doctor of Philosophy in it. Yeah. But with it, I have attained, maybe some deep wisdom and clarity in life, and that makes me somewhat qualified to stand before you all today. But what in reality I think happened is that they glossed over the engineering part, because you know how engineers are so great at delivering clear, concise, and motivational talks, am I right? I actually struggled quite a bit to write this speech without a PowerPoint to show you or a graph to distract my eye contact with you all. But the truth is that this talk isn't about what I did, or in reality did not accomplish, during my time at the University of Rochester, but rather how my time here in Rochester has really shaped me through challenges and wins, and has really forced me to adapt to an environment that has been completely new to me. Now, in reality, getting this degree has been one of the most challenging things that I've ever done in my life so far. As I started to wrap up my time here at the U of R, the question I have most received has been, would you do it all again? Which is really a question of, was it worth it? And that's very passive-aggressive, in my opinion. I actually received this same question after graduating from my undergrad. My journey started in community college, where I worked full-time and went to school full-time, something that many of you may have done as well. At this point, I was promised that holding a degree, literally any degree, would help me open any door that I wanted. Now, at the time, I was working at McDonald's, and so I wanted that door to have the largest dollar sign behind it, of course. And so that lured me to pursue a degree in chemical engineering that focused on petroleum engineering at Washington State University. I recall asking our oil company recruiters that would visit our department, how do you enjoy your job? And I would consistently get the same response. Well, you know, the pay makes it worth it. The truth was that their job kept them away from their loved ones. It was very stressful, and it didn't particularly make the world a better place. I knew at that moment that was not the door that I was looking for. It was not the life in which I would find fulfillment and purpose. But it was the end of my junior year, and I had to quickly pivot. I was blessed to have amazing mentors around me that really helped me to gain the experience that I needed and helped me to find my way into graduate school, ultimately into a field that I found tremendous purpose. Now, thinking back to my first day of orientation in my first semester in grad school, I was surrounded by some of the most brilliant and talented people that I have ever met. The excitement of the new beginning quickly turned into fear and constant thoughts of not belonging. As many graduate students will tell you, this first year is one of the most challenging when we enter grad school. For those of us who move far from home, far from loved ones, each day that first year is a test of our strength, to step outside of our comfort zone and really make the difference that we all came here for. I was lucky to quickly find my village here in Rochester that allowed me to support them, and they ultimately supported me throughout my entire time here. All of us became united through this experience, students that came from all around the world together and achieved amazing things. Now, I recall moments that stick out in my mind, such as failing my first exam in Dr. Foster's Advanced Transport Phenomenon class. This experience truly defined my first semester, and I remember going home and telling my husband, that's it, you pack your bags, I'm not cut out for this grad school stuff. I don't belong here. After being talked down from quitting the program, shout out to my amazing husband, Grady, for being my rock. Yes. I remember walking back into Dr. Foster's office the following day with the full intention of asking for some way to save my grade. His kindness and honesty shifted my entire perspective. He ultimately ended with saying, you know you'll likely fail at way bigger things at this one exam during your time in grad school, but you'll adapt and you'll be successful. I laughed at this statement as it reminded me of my parents' immigrant story from Nicaragua back in the 80s. While it is difficult for me to understand how they ever navigated so many trials during those initial years, they always explained it away with a shrug, and they would just say, mija, you just do it. There is a heaviness in that phrase. There's an indication of a lot of challenges and a lot of failed expectations. but it also demonstrates that a self-assurance and that we each have all that it takes. I was the first in my family to go to graduate school, and after some difficulty explaining that I was not going to get a real job after undergrad, but rather spend another 5, possibly 6 years in school, they were very puzzled, but they ultimately gave me their same confidence. Now, I would love to tell you that it was all smooth sailing the whole time. It was not. I think you will each understand the sacrifices that it takes to sit in each of these chairs today. For some of us, it's sleepless nights, possibly a small or a very large caffeine addiction. For some of us, it's missed celebrations, holidays far from home, and maybe somebody that you just couldn't say I love you to one last time. I want to acknowledge that there was a long and unique journey for each of us to sit here today. And while I have only shared a glimpse into my time here, I want to encourage each of you to reflect on those moments that defined who you are today. The good as well as the bad ones, because I'm sure that we will have to heavily adapt in this next chapter as well. Now, I don't think I can still answer this question of, was it worth it? I find that this question implies that I can somehow go back to the start and make a different choice, and I can't. But what all of our experiences have really allowed us to do is to create our own story, as well as the ability to make a new ending wherever we go. So to all of the students here this morning with so much uncertainty surrounding us, I see you, we need you, and it's time for each of us to speak up. And remember that we all have what it takes. And thank you, and congratulations to the class of 2024.
Thank you, Raquel, and thank you, Emily. You've both demonstrated incredible leadership and engagement during your time at our university and have helped make our university community stronger. And now we are ready for the moment you've all been waiting for. This is the part where we honor everyone in the class of 2024. I will ask each dean to present their respective graduates for the formal conferring of degrees.
Will the recipients of the doctoral degree please rise to be recognized? President Mangelsdorf, on the recommendation of the faculty and with the approval of the Board of Trustees, I have the honor of presenting the candidates for doctoral degrees for the 2023-24 academic year.
Dean Sturchapple, on behalf of the University of Rochester, I confer upon these students the degrees for which they have been recommended and admit them to all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereof.
Graduates, please be seated.
Will the graduates of the School of Medicine and Dentistry please rise to be recognized? President Mangelsdorf, on the recommendation of our esteemed faculty and with the approval of the Board of Trustees, I have the honor of presenting the candidates for degrees in the School of Medicine for the academic year 2023-2024.
Dr. Linehan, on behalf of the University of Rochester, I confer upon these students the degrees for which they have been recommended and admit them to all of the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereof.
Will the graduates of the School of Nursing please rise to be recognized? President Mangelsdorf, on the recommendation of the faculty and with approval of the Board of Trustees, I have the honor of presenting the excellent candidates for degrees in the School of Nursing for the 2023-24 academic year.
Dean Kitco, on behalf of the University of Rochester, I confer upon these students the degrees for which they have been recommended and admit them to all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereof.
Will the graduates of the Simon Business School please rise to be recognized? President Mangelsdorf, on the recommendation of the faculty and with the approval of the Board of Trustees, I have the honor of presenting the candidates for degrees in the Simon School of Business for the 2023-24 academic year.
Dean Yeltikin, on behalf of the University of Rochester, I confer upon these students the degrees for which they have been recommended and admit them all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereof. Congratulations.
Will the graduates of the Warner School of Education and Human Development please rise to be recognized? President Mangelsdorf, on the recommendation of the faculty and with the approval of the Board of Trustees, I have the honor of presenting the candidates for degrees in the Warner School of Education and Human Development for the 2023-24 academic year.
Dean Payray, on behalf of the University of Rochester, I confer upon these students the degrees for which they have been recommended and admit them to all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereof. Congratulations.
Will the graduates of the Eastman School of Music please rise to be recognized? President Mangelsdorf, on the recommendation of the faculty and with the approval of the Board of Trustees, I have the honor of presenting these talented candidates for degrees in the Eastman School of Music for the 2023-24 academic year.
Dean Rossi, on behalf of the University of Rochester, I confer upon these students the degrees for which they have been recommended and admit them to all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereof. Congratulations.
Will the graduates of the Hagem School of Engineering and Applied Sciences please rise to be recognized? President Mangelsdorf, on the recommendation of the faculty and with the approval of the Board of Trustees, I have the honor of presenting these extraordinary candidates for the degrees in the Hagem School of Engineering and Applied Sciences for the 2023-24 academic year.
Dean Heinzelman, on behalf of the University of Rochester, I confer upon these students the degrees for which they have been recommended and admit them to all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereof. Congratulations.
Will the graduates of the School of Arts and Sciences please rise to be recognized? President Mangelsdorf, on the recommendation of the faculty and with the approval of the Board of Trustees, I have the honor of presenting these outstanding candidates for degrees in the School of Arts and Sciences for the 2023-24 academic year.
Dean Sampson, on behalf of the University of Rochester, I confer upon these students the degrees for which they have been recommended and admit them to all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereof. Congratulations. Now, congratulations to the entire class of 2024. To signify your graduation, undergraduates, please move your tassels from the right to the left, okay? Come on. That's good. That's good. I want to thank the members of the Eastman Wind Ensemble and their conductor, Mark Scatterday, for all the wonderful music this morning. We are nearing the end of our university commencement ceremony. We invite you all to join us after the ceremony in the Wilson Quadrangle for the graduate and family picnic. But now, please rise for the singing of the university's alma mater, the Genesee. Members of the university's many a cappella groups will lead us in song. You will find the words printed on the last page of your program. Everyone, please join in. At the conclusion of the Genesee, please remain in your seats and make sure the aisles and walkways are clear until the full academic procession has left the field. Thank you again for joining us today, and once again, congratulations to the wonderful class of 2024.
Zach, are you on tenor with me? Yeah. You're gonna cue us from there, then?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Oh, many fair and famous streams beneath the sun there be, yet more to us than any seems our own dear Genesee. We love thy banks and stately falls, for to our minds they bring our dear old alma mater's halls, where sweetest memories cling. As flows the river gathering force along her steadfast way, may we along life's devious course grow stronger day by day. And may our hearts, where'er we roam, forever loyal be. our beloved college home beside the Genesee.